Mario Kart Wii was released over 17 years ago and is one of the most popular entries in the Mario Kart franchise. With over 37 million copies sold, it revolutionized Mario Kart with 16 original courses and 16 retro recreations. With 32 tracks to race on in total, there are bound to be some better than others. So today, I am going to rank every single Mario Kart Wii track from worst to best. But how will I be ranking this? Firstly, there'll be a letter ranging from D to S in the corner of the screen, indicating what tier these courses go on a tier list. That's right, I don't think there are any E or F tier tracks in this incredible game. Secondly, I'm going to be using a method of ranking which I call CUM. It means I'll be ranking based on creativity, uniqueness, and music. Get your minds out of the gutter, you filthy pervert. Let's just get into the ranking before you think any less of me as a human being. Oh, and like and subscribe. Cheers. Let's get into it. 32. N64 Sherbetland. This is one of those courses where the entire track is off-road, which makes you slip around with every turn. The only interesting part of this track is the icy cave, with penguins waddling around the rocks. Visually, this level is just blindingly white, with nothing really of interest to look at. Add the vast amounts of nothingness along the track, and you've got an incredibly boring course. 31. SNES Mario Circuit 3. This track, like most SNES retro tracks, is completely flat, with lackluster visuals and level design. This course is pretty much just a long straightaway, followed by a sharp turn, followed by another long straightaway. There's an off-road shortcut near the end which requires a mushroom and a small boost pad to finish the race. 30. GBA Shy Guy Beach. Do you like circles? I hope so, because this track is just an anti-clockwise circle at a beach. The exploding cannonballs launching from the distant pirate ships look great, but don't actually have as much of an impact on the track as the game developers probably wanted. The track being predominantly off-road doesn't help either. 29. DS Yoshi Falls. Hey look, another circle. This track gets the edge over Shy Guy Beach because the track isn't slippy with off-road, and I like the option to risk driving over the waterfalls and save a small amount of time. Visually, this track is nothing too special. I'm grateful that Yoshi gets better representation in other Mario Kart games. 28. N64 DK's Jungle Parkway. There's nothing inherently wrong with this track. It's very calming and serene, with tropical music and a nice jungle theme. The reason this barely escapes the C tier is because this track is just widely uninteresting, with the two main highlights being the big jump at the start and the narrow bridge at the end, perfect for placing traps. 27. DS Peach Gardens. This track is the definition of tranquil. Beautiful theming, a calming layout, luscious looking gardens, and killer chain chomps. Wait, I like this section with the chain chomps weaving in and out of the bushes, and the dirt track near the end with the Monty Moles. It's not a track I regularly choose, but it's always a pretty nice time whenever it's selected. I don't think a track this calm belongs in the Lightning Cup, however. 26. SNES Ghost Valley 2. Ooh, spooky ghosts. The background is eerie, the walls fall apart, and there are boos roaming the track. I like the start of this track, where you can choose either an easy shortcut which doesn't even require a mushroom, or a guaranteed item box. Despite being the shortest track in the game, it's still a pretty good time. 25. GCN Peach Beach. Already, this is a huge step up from Shy Guy Beach. Even though this track is still essentially just a circle, the openness of this section here really adds to the vibe, with a tide coming in and out which slows you down. I appreciate the sunshine references too, with the cataquacks roaming the track and lifting you up into the air if you hit them. 24. DS Desert Hills. This game has two desert tracks, and I definitely prefer the Nitro track over this remixed DS track. The main reason being, this track has significantly less going on. There's a large off-road shortcut near the start, and winding hills near the end, but not an awful lot overall. Barren is the first word I think of when I see this course. 23. Mario Circuit. This track is essentially a figure 8, driving through a tunnel and then looping round to drive over it. There are Goombas scattered around the track, a typical Mario enemy for a Mario circuit, and a huge prominent chain chomp trying to eat you. It's a pretty average track with a basic theme and basic layout. I'm really not a fan of the fact that this track shares music with 22. Luigi Circuit. The first track of the first cup. It's about as standard can be, with no obstacles on the track itself. Just you alongside 11 other racers. There's a couple simple shortcuts near the end, with one requiring a mushroom to go off a ramp, and one near the end to cut the corner. I like how there's the option to go round the inside with no speed boosts, or you can go around the outside and get a gratifying boost of speed. While the music for this track works with Mario Circuit, it's a shame that the game developers couldn't cook up one last music piece to truly make the two circuits stand out. 21. GCN Mario Circuit. There are a few reasons why I prefer GCN Mario Circuit over the Nitro track. The layout is a huge improvement over the simple figure 8. The track begins with a huge turn with a chain chomp, similar to the Nitro Mario Circuit, but then expands into twistier turns with piranha plants dotted along the path. I also prefer the music, and the final jump with piranha plants on either side makes for an exciting finish. 20. N64 Mario Raceway. This is the last Mario themed track, I promise. This course is quite controversial, especially for those who play online. That's because this course is an infamous bagging track, with all of the off-road shortcuts throughout the entire track. For a casual player, this track is good, nothing overly special, but for a more competitive player, this track can frustrate quite a bit. Imagine using a golden mushroom like I did here and just boosting your way to first on the final lap. 19. Moonview Highway. I'm quite impartial to Mario Kart tracks with huge cars as obstacles, but Moonview Highway certainly isn't a bad track by any means. I see this track in two sections, the first section being very bendy with multiple parts. You can drive along the road with the cars, or you can drive along the walls and above the course for extra item boxes. Then the second section involves long straightaways with lots of boost panels. If I'm honest, the main reason this track's ranked this high is the music. It gets the heart going in all the best ways. Also, the addition of bomb cars alongside normal cars and trucks makes for a neat change of pace. 18. GCN Waluigi Stadium. This track's uniqueness carries it hard. Waluigi themed tracks always go hard, and Waluigi Stadium is no exception. I especially like the section with the mechanical piranha plants coming in and out of the wall. Mario Kart Wii introduced half-pipe boosts, and this GameCube track recreation implements them in such a perfect way. While it's not quite my favourite retro track, I'd argue it's one of the best tracks to bring back from a past game and recreate with new additions. 17. Daisy Circuit. The layout of this track is quite different from most typical circuit tracks, which makes it stand out from Luigi and Mario Circuit. The figure 8 with split paths, the tunnel with traffic cones, and the huge final turn makes for a fun experience. I especially like the opening shortcut where you mushroom boost up the stairs and launch from the side of the building back onto the track. The Luigi and Daisy statue is cute, and the entire course has a nice romantic feeling to it. 16. GBA Bowser Castle 3. Originating from the Game Boy Advance, this Bowser Castle layout is flat, with sharp, mostly 90-degree turns. Thwomps are a prominent enemy for this stage, which squish you if you drive under them at just the wrong time. This section with multiple small jumps back to back is a boost of speed and excitement. The theming is quite simple, but consistent. 15. N64 Bowser's Castle. While I don't think this game needed a third Bowser Castle, I'm more than happy that the Lightning Cup ends with this course. This track is enormous, possibly the longest track in the game, featuring both the inside and outside of the castle. Like with GBA Bowser Castle 3, Thwomps are a recurring enemy, but what's interesting about these Thwomps is that some of them follow you along the track and try and stop you in their path. Also, the music is really intense, with opera harmonies dominating the soundtrack and getting you excited to race along the final course of the game. 14. GCN DK Mountain. One of the first things you'll do in this course is get launched from a cannon to the very top of the mountain. Then, each lap consists of driving all the way down the mountain. There are ramps added near the start for opportunities to perform trick jumps, but I feel like it would have just been better to trick off the actual bumpy mountain itself. Adding these ramps takes away from the immersive, natural-looking terrain. Despite this, the journey down is incredibly fun, with boulders being hurtled down at you, this huge shroomless skip, and a long perilous bridge to end the course, which birthed this hilarious meme and the term getting Mario Karted. Dry Ruins. Now this is a desert level done right. The track layout is excellent, going in and out of the pyramids. There are jumps that fall onto the track as the laps progress. There are huge boosted jumps to end the laps. There's a Yoshi Sphinx. This track has it all. The only reason this track isn't ranked higher is because I'm still not a fan of tracks being predominantly off-road. The visuals and track layout more than make up for this, however. 12. Bowser's Castle. Finally, the Nitro Bowser Castle. For 2008, things like a huge animated Bowser statue spitting out huge exploding fireballs was absolutely game-changing, and nothing that the Mario Kart community had ever seen before. And even for today's standards, that's an incredibly unique addition to an ongoing Mario Kart phenomenon, and makes it stand out among the rest. The track starts with a big leap into the castle, followed by wavy carpets, great design, and more thwomps, which are clearly a staple of Bowser Castle courses. 11. Moo Moo Meadows. First things first, this might be my favourite piece of Mario Kart music of all time. The western country-esque tunes are just so uplifting and instantly put me in a great mood. Because this track is in the Mushroom Cup, the layout is very simple and open, with no void and not too many obstacles. Saying that, with each lap that passes, more and more cows stampede along the track. Isn't it mental how this is a playable character in Mario Kart World? 10. DS Delfino Square. Spoiler alert, this is the only retro track to grace the top 10. I'm not sure whether that says more about the great quality of the Wii original courses, or the lack of quality on most of the retros. Anyways, Delfino Square was already a great track on the DS, and it's even better on the Wii, especially because of parts like this. Taking this shortcut off the ledge is so satisfying, and it can even be doubled up into an off-road shortcut through this muddy path. At the end of this track is a bridge which raises and lowers, granting you either huge airtime or huge speed. Overall, a fantastic course with great music and a nice quaint suburban vibe. Definitely a saving grace from the otherwise lackluster Banana Cup. 9. Grumble Volcano. This track consists of volcanoes, and more volcanoes, which I'm sure comes as a surprise to a lot of you. Safety is not this course's top priority, and there are practically no guardrails anywhere, so make any mistakes and you'll be trying to swim in lava. On top of this, there's a unique gimmick with this course where the track slowly crumbles away as the laps progress, making racing along this track progressively more challenging. I really appreciate how this course doesn't feel the need to hold itself back from the difficulty aspect. The theming stays consistent throughout the entire course, and there's not one section that I could really talk about on its own, which certainly isn't a bad thing. It's just great fun through and through. 8. Toad's Factory, an absolute icon of a track. Despite the track layout essentially being a square with a tumour, the theming absolutely carries this course, showing us how item boxes are made with these machines in the first section. Then you're introduced to the huge curvy conveyor belts, with one track speeding you up and the other slowing you down. And the very outer walls even have additional item boxes. These conveyor belts even switch sides based on what lap you're on. Then finally, the music restarts after you take this huge leap out of the inner factory and back onto mainland, where you boost your way through the mud and over the finish line in a very dramatic fashion. 7. Wario's Gold Mine. For only being in the Flower Cup, this course is very tricky, giving the same track layout vibes as the Rainbow Road courses. Wario is a very rich man, shown with the endless money carts traversing the track alongside you, as well as being part of the background. This course feels like a roller coaster, with tight, perilous turns and huge dips in the track. Near the end of the course, there's a shroomless shortcut if you take a more risky and narrower path following the money carts, with boost panels and extra item boxes. 6. Coconut Mall. I don't even think I need to go into detail as to why Coconut Mall is up this high on the list. This is, without a doubt, the most iconic and memorable Mario Kart course to date, with fantastic music, an outstanding theme, the escalators which send you up and down, your Mii's faces featuring on posters in the mall itself, and of course the cars at the end which drive forwards and backwards and try and block you from boosting to the finish. Truly an icon of a course. It's simply amazing. 5. Mushroom Gorge. This cup needed a mushroom-themed course, and Mushroom Gorge is absolutely perfect. It's certainly a leap in difficulty compared to the first two courses of the Mushroom Cup, but it's exactly what the cup needed. The main feature of this course is, wouldn't you know it, the bouncy mushrooms, which are introduced fantastically right at the start, with a boost panel showing you that the red ones bounce you, immediately followed up with a combination of red and green mushrooms, showing you that you don't bounce on the green ones. After this, you drive inside a huge cavern littered with both red and green mushrooms, which acts as a final test to show your knowledge of what the track has so expertly taught you. And the ending gap jump shortcut is, of course, iconic because of its difficulty and fun factor in trying to complete it. Take a shot every time I said the word mushroom. 4. DK's Snowboard Cross, or DK Summit for all you filthy Americans. This course may surprise you as to why it's ranked so highly, and it's certainly a more controversial choice. Similar to GCN DK Mountain, you start this track by blasting through a cannon to the top of the mountain, then you race all the way to the bottom. The introduction of half-pipe jumps make this course even more brilliant, and they're used all over the course in fantastic ways, particularly the long straightaway at the end, with Shy Guys snowboarding along the course. The music is fun and upbeat, and the double gap jump is a great way for players to flex their skills. Or maybe not. 3. Koopa Cape. There aren't many Koopa-themed courses in Mario Kart, which makes this course incredibly unique. Along most of the track, you drive on rushing water, which actually makes you drive a bit faster than normal. My favourite part of this track is near the end, where the rushing water leads to a pipe which goes underwater. The music muffles, the water continues to rush through, there's spinning lightning to avoid, and you can even spot old Mario enemies in the water, such as the Unagi eel from Mario 64. This is up there with one of my favourite music pieces in the game as well. Truly a fantastic course which easily warrants being in the top 3. 2. Maple Treeway. I don't think I've ever met anyone who didn't instantly fall in love with Maple Treeway. The beautiful autumnal theme, the gorgeous colours, driving alongside tree trunks and branches, the massive wigglers roaming the track, the bouncy net to finish. What's not to love? My favourite thing to do when starting a race on this track is take the starting shortcut, which usually requires a mushroom, grabbing an item box when several racers pass me, then use the boost panel to make my way back to first place, but with an item much better than what you can get in first place. It's a bit of an exploit, but who cares, it's Maple Treeway. 1. Rainbow Road. 3 words come to mind whenever I think about Wii's Rainbow Road. Beautiful, iconic, and challenging. This course is visually stunning, with the earth beneath you and Mario Galaxy references such as the floating star bits. You start the track by dipping all the way down, then instantly launching back into the track and taking a sharp turn. Already this sets the standard for how tricky this course is. Then you go along a wavy road, round a figure 8 with death pits, through a colourful cannon, across a precarious half-pipe jump, then choose which split path you want to go down for the end. There aren't many rainbow roads that can top this one. It's as close to perfect as you can get. And that concludes my personal ranking of all tracks in Mario Kart Wii. I'm not going to be doing a separate video ranking the 8 cups, because there wouldn't really be much point, so instead I'll do that quickly now, based on the average placements for the 4 races in each cup. I'll also summarise the cup as a whole and state the highlights and weak points. At number 8, we have the Shell Cup with an average placement of 25. The main reason the Shell Cup is dead last is because there's no standalone good course. The best course in this cup is Mario Raceway, which is distinctly mid. At number 7, we have Banana Cup with an average placement of 22.5. This cup has 2 bad tracks and 2 pretty good ones. Nothing overly special, but Delfino Square is definitely carrying this cup from being ranked to the worst. At number 6, we have the Leaf Cup with an average placement of 22.25. This cup is as average can get. Nothing hugely interesting, just a plethora of mediocrity. At number 5, we have the Lightning Cup with an average placement of 21.25. This is the best out of all the retro cups. Lightning Cup doesn't start too spectacularly, but GCN DK Mountain and N64 Bowser's Castle bring the final cup of the game to a great finale. At number 4, we have the Special Cup with an average placement of 11.75. Certainly a huge step up from all the retro cups. What's interesting is how the best track in the game is in this cup, yet this cup is only number 4. No hate to the Special Cup though, there's not a bad track in sight. At number 3, we have the Mushroom Cup with an average placement of 11.5. The first cup in all Mario Kart games are purposefully easier in terms of their track design, in order to teach the game mechanics and ease new players into the Mario Kart experience. The Mushroom Cup achieves this with flying colours and introduced fan favourites such as Mushroom Gorge and Toad's Factory. At number 2, we have the Flower Cup with an average placement of 10. While this cup has a pretty average start with Mario Circuit, the next 3 courses are all phenomenal. Coconut Mall revolutionized the Mario Kart franchise in the best way possible. And the best cup in the game goes to Star Cup with an average placement of 7.75. I feel like no matter which Mario Kart game you play, the Star Cup always delivers nothing but bangers. Each of the 4 courses have individual attributes as to why they're all fantastic in their own regard. And with that concludes today's ranking video. Make sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe if you're new. And for those of you who don't know, we have a community Discord server where you guys can talk with me and input your opinions on videos. The link to join is on the end card and in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.